These are the most ridiculous shots by each individual player inside the top 16 last season, listed in order. And as usual, we're going to be recreating all of them as accurately as possible before playing them in the fewest possible attempts. And you might be surprised to find out that our first player just clinging on inside the top 16 is John Higgins at the moment. And this double at the World Championships is almost certainly his most ridiculous shot of the year. The shot definitely isn't as straightforward as it looks, but when you consider how crucial this one was in terms of defeating Mark Allen and making the clearance to get through to the quarterfinals of the World Championships, it's a bit ridiculous. Well, that wasn't bad, but things are going to get a lot harder, starting with this massive swerve from the world number 15, Barry Hawkins, who looked in a lot of trouble at the Masters as Neil Robertson had him in behind the brown. But as you can see with this swerve, he actually spins the cue ball most of the way around the brown to get the red over the corner pocket, and even though it doesn't leave him in position, it digs him out of a lot of trouble. It's a little bit easier on my table, but still good to get it straight away. Jak Jones was the qualifier who made it all the way through to the World Championship final, and back against the wall 17 frames to 12 behind, he pulled out this long red, leaving himself perfectly on the black with the cannon. This actually launched a little bit of a comeback for him as he took the next couple of frames as well. That was incredibly close, but I'm not quite on the black, so I'm going to have to try and pot it again, which I've got, and I think I've just about got the right cannon this time. At 13, Tom Ford looks completely out of position on this break of 91, but still manages to cut in this ridiculous red and finish in good position on the pink, which allows him to go on and make the clearance. Despite this, he still ends up losing out to Mark Williams in what is an incredibly close match, where the Welshman took out a brilliant clearance from 60 behind in the deciding frame, and I'm really happy to have got this one so quickly. This is more or less a fluke from Zhang Anda at the International Championships, as he's taking a 5-4 lead here and going on to win his first ever ranking event. But he did pot a really good pink and was unlucky to just miss the cannon on this red in the first place. So I'm going to have a go to see if I can fluke the red in exactly the same way. And as you can see, I have managed to fluke it, but in a completely different way. It's obvious that Zhang was probably going for that pocket, but in a completely different way, direct, like I've just got it there. But of course that doesn't count either. I have to hit the side cushion and get it back across the table towards the opposite middle pocket, and although I can get it in the right middle pocket, I just don't seem to be able to do the left. I think this is probably going to be the hardest shot to get right, as Zhang was just hitting it and hoping for the best, but it does sum up his tournament in which he just didn't seem to be able to miss, and I think I finally got this one. It took so long that I'm just glad the whites avoided the middle pocket here. Kyren Wilson is next at the World Grand Prix, and he's making cannoning the frame-winning black down the cushion so it rests unmissably over the pocket look incredibly easy. In reality, this is a pretty tough shot to get right. As I think my first attempt shows, you've got to use left-hand side and backspin here in the correct amounts, because the more left-hand side you use, the less backspin you'll be putting on the cue ball. And you've got to judge the cannon right, and that's pretty good. I can easily pot it from there. Moving on to Ali Carter, who appears to have a potable red into the middle pocket, but the shot won't go anywhere in terms of position, so he plays it in the corner. This is going to require a really accurate shot and good control of the cue ball to get back on the black. I struggle a lot with this type of shot because I can never seem to find the right angle, so I must have got a little bit lucky there to get it second attempt. Of course, Mark Williams won the Tour Championships in Manchester, and he had this really tough shot into the middle pocket when he was right up against the reds. Not only did he manage to get the red, he got good enough in position on the black to pot that and win the frame against an informed Ronnie O'Sullivan. Mark then went on to win the tournament from this position, and this shot was incredibly crucial in letting him do so. I'm annoyed to have missed that first attempt because I'm usually pretty good at this type of shot, although my bridge hand's a little bit compromised by the other reds, which Mark Williams wouldn't have had as a problem being left-handed, though 3 attempts is probably alright. Ding looked completely out of it in the first round of the UK Championships against Mark Allen and used a lot of topspin to spin the cue ball around the middle pocket and get down for the black, which he needs to avoid snookers. He then manages to go on and win this frame on a respotted black, and then eventually the match 6-5, going all the way through to the final before narrowly losing out to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And I think I've got the shot about as good as I can play it on my table. This is one of those shots where Shaun Murphy simply couldn't see an easy way to play safe on this final black, so he ended up just knocking it in down the cushion. He was 5-3 up at this point, but despite that, it's still a good pot. I can remember when I tried this shot before that I kept putting a small trace of right hand side on the cue ball for some reason, and that made it difficult to line up as the cue ball kept going further to the right as it rolled across the table. So I've got to get used to this again, but I'm slowly getting closer, and I don't think it's going to be too long before the black hits the pocket. And I've got it. It probably took me too many attempts though. Undoubtedly, Mark Selby's best win of the season was the 6-0 against Ronnie O'Sullivan, which included this tough long red to start off with, finished off by a great clearance. Ronnie at the time looked borderline unbeatable, so to beat him 6-0 was an unbelievable result.
Hello.
And I have to say I was more than a little surprised this went in straight away.
Hello.
Ronnie O'Sullivan managed to pot this pink down the cushion and drag the cue ball back across the table in an incredibly dominant win against Junhui. In fact, Ding did incredibly well to get a frame out of this match as Ronnie took it 6-1. You can't understate just how well Ronnie was playing at this point during the season. Most players wouldn't have even seen this shot, let alone play it. With Luca Brecel, I probably should have gone for his double at the Shanghai Masters final, but I played that shot far too many times this year, so I'm going for his win over Graham Dott in the Welsh Open, in which he pulled out an unbelievable clearance, where a lot of the balls appeared to be safe, and this blue in particular, where he didn't appear to be in position whatsoever. Annoyingly, I got this one absolutely perfect first time, but forgot to switch the camera on. But I still managed to pot it 3 times in a row, and I'm pretty good in position here. Whilst taking a 10-1 lead in the World Championship final, which he'd eventually go on to win, Kyren Wilson manages to pot this blue and cannon the red out from the black. It's a good pot and a good cannon at the same time, and he did eventually go on to make the clearance from here, so all good from that point of view. As I picked up the potting angle on the blue for the Luca Brecel shot so quickly, I was expecting to do the same here, but for some reason I seem to be having a little bit of difficulty potting this one, despite the fact it's a lot easier pot than the previous shot. And I don't seem to be able to get the cannon right until now. But can I pot this red to make sure I could continue the break? And it's a yes. Our next shot is from China, but unlike Hattori, it's not from Wuhan. which is a shame because it'd be good if that worked out. Anyway, he's there. With Judd Trump having the best shots of the season, there were a number of shots I could have gone for, so I've mostly done this one because I've probably played it the least, although I have played this one a couple of times before already. But it does look one of the most spectacular, podding the long blue and cannoning the pink away from the cushion. Having played all of these shots in previous videos has really helped, even though some of them it was a long time ago, because I can still remember roughly what I did. However, on this one it's a little bit different, because I've still got to hit it absolutely perfectly. It's no good just to pot the ball with roughly the right amount of side spin, because you've got to generate enough top spin on the cue ball to get it to run through. And I finally think I've done it here, and I've got the cannon pretty good. And we've done it. We've finally reached world number 1 Mark Allen at the World Masters of Snooker Masters, who pots this red off the black to secure his first frame in his match against Mark Selby, which he would go on to win in extraordinary circumstances of their own. And Mark Allen obviously had a great season last year, winning both the Players' Championships and the Shootout, getting himself to world number 1, which means he's at the end of this video. I remember from when I tried this initially, this is a horrible shot to get right, so I'm glad it's already gone in. No winners or losers this week, just some of the most ridiculous shots from the players inside the top 16. But if you want to know which shot from the season was best, have a look at these 2 videos. And remember, don't just watch play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.